I'm live. I'm live. Really? I'm live. Hello. Hello, everybody. If you're watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. I'm so happy to see your face. I hope you watch the replay in time because this video is happening in, what do you say, concurrence or something at the same time as the challenge opening up. 21-day challenge opening up, guys. So I hope you watched this in time because registration is closing really soon for that. So glad you're here. Welcome, guys. Happy Friday. I'm getting on a little earlier today than normal because I have a hey, Susan. I know you. Susan was just in my Facebook Live a minute ago. I always end up doing Facebook first and then coming over to YouTube to spend some more time with my lovelies. I'm so happy to see you guys. I feel such great energy out of YouTube. I don't know. It's always so fun to do the YouTube lives. So yeah, we have a ultrasound appointment this afternoon. So I had to switch things around a little bit from the time I usually do it. So I'm doing it a little bit earlier today because if you don't know or not, I'm pregnant with twins. Let me show you what is happening over here in reality. And as I was saying in the Facebook live, I know my shirt isn't inaccurate, but you know, it's a Saturday kind of mood, I feel like, even though it's a Friday. But because it's Friday, that means we've only got 2 days left in registration for the Eat to Live 21-day challenge, March 2020. So I have put a link for the challenge registration in the description of this video. And also I'm going to add one here in the comment section just so it's easy for you guys to get to. And you can make sure and go register there because it's starting up. And I don't want you to miss out on it because come Sunday night, you're not going to be able to register anymore. So how are you guys? Where are you watching from? Come on, give me some interaction here. It's just me and Susan so far, hanging out on this beautiful Friday. I guess it's afternoon for most of you, or I don't know, most of you, but a lot of you are in the Eastern time zone. But we got a St. Louis, Missouri here with Deanna. Hi, St. Louis. Good to see you. And I'm on the Pacific time zone. We got BB from Miami. Susan's in North Carolina in her massage chair. Oh, I need that chair. Can you send it to me, please? Can I work from it? Can I put my feet in a like a bath or something while I'm working in it? Oh, that would be awesome. Susan just drank her big old smoothie, the pumpkin pie. Oh, yum. Yeah, really good smoothie there. Things have been a little weird for me in pregnancy, but I have been getting smoothies in, so that's good. But I had switched back to my favorite berry smoothie, which by the way, I posted, I think it was last week or the week before, my favorite chocolate peanut butter smoothie. Well, that's always how I used to make it, with like cacao and peanut butter. But I have since graduated to carob powder and walnuts instead because I'm like an old lady and I can't deal with caffeine. So I have carob powder, but in fact, I actually like carob powder more now. And I do walnuts because the more omega-3s, healthier nut or whatever. And Susan says, yes, you can work from her massage chair. Okay, great. So you can just send it over. That'll be awesome. Thank you. So this is a Q&A, guys. If you didn't know, this is a Q&A. So feel free to ask any questions you might have at all regarding the Eat to Live lifestyle, what you might be struggling with. You have any just like regular generic questions you want to know. Elizabeth is here from England. Awesome. I'm not going to try to pronounce that with an English accent because I don't really do well with that sort of thing, but Lancashire, I'll say that with my American accent. And Susan said she started drinking tea chino because of the suggestion. Yeah, and it's so good. You're so right. So yummy. I'm so I love being on YouTube. It feels very comfortable for me to be on YouTube with you guys. So thanks for spending some time with me today. Okay, so Deanna's brand new. She asks, what is the challenge? Let me give you the rundown. I'm so glad you asked. Okay, so The rundown that I was giving in the Facebook group just a second ago was like, first, I want to sort of tell you a little bit about what I do and why I do it. So I have always followed since the beginning of my YouTube channel, or like the first. Okay, so that's not true. You'll see some videos on my YouTube channel that are not Eat to Live related for sure. But that's how I started out. And then you can see my transition over the years. I started following this diet lifestyle called Eat to Live, which is by the book by Dr. Joel Fuhrman called Eat to Live. It's all about healthy, whole foods, plant-based, like amazing high nutrient foods for longevity, disease prevention, reversal for our healthiest weight, blah, blah, blah. So I started doing that, but I'm coming from a background of food addiction. So I was like, oh, how do I eat the food and like it and not be starved all the time? And how do I wrap my mind around ending binge eating and not overeating and not cramming, at the end of a huge meal, then you still want to eat like 10 things, right? How do I do that? That was my quest. That's what my whole YouTube channel is about. I have lots of vlogs that I've done about like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get this right? I binged again today, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of my history. And what happened was about 3 years ago, I started coaching the weight loss part of it because I kind of had the weight loss part done because I would always put myself on these challenges. And so what a challenge is, you've probably seen challenges around before, like any kind of like diet challenge or something like that, is like for several days, for whatever quantity of days, you eat specific things that the challenge lays out for you. Typically you get grocery lists and stuff like that too. So I always thought on my journey, like, I'm just going to do challenges for myself and keep doing them and see if I can lose the weight. And then I did. So after a couple years of putting myself on like 7-day challenges, 14-day challenges, 42-day challenges, whatever, I would just do challenges intermittently throughout the year. And I found myself at my goal weight at one point. And I said, well, this really works. And then there was a subscriber that I had who said, you should put on challenges for us, for everyone to be able to do. And I said, that's a great idea. So I started doing that last year in January. And since January, this is challenge number 6 that I'm like, this is challenge number 6 that I've put on. So we keep doing these 21-day challenges. And you guys will see just a few minutes ago, I posted a video testimonial from Mara, who's one of my successful challengers who did like at least 4 of my, I think she did 4 of my challenges, and now she doesn't do challenges anymore because she doesn't need them. So I put a testimonial up from her about her experience on the 21-day challenges. And I mean, she lost all the weight she wanted to lose. She like got off all these medications, all this medical stuff was resolved, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to read this comment from her. That came up in the Facebook group in January. She says, I won't be participating in the challenge either after all the challenges last year. They worked. I'm at my happy weight now and have many favorite recipes to revisit and tweak from the challenge last year. That's what my 21-day challenges do. So they're recipes, meal plans, and grocery lists for 21 days of Eat to Live diet, lifestyle foods in quantities that a binge eater can appreciate, because I make these challenges, okay? So they've got to have enough food on them to satisfy the binge eater kind of personality, right? Like massive quantities and feeling full, but still losing weight, getting tons of nutrients, all that kind of stuff. So that's what they are. So you get a calendar, you get grocery lists, and then we also break down the prep too into like smaller chunks. So you prep like a little bit day by day. I call it rolling prep, where you do like one day you might prep your greens, the next day you might make some roasted vegetables, the next day you might chop some raw things, and then the following day you put all that together into a salad, and it only takes a few minutes to make the salad, right? And as you kind of roll through this prep, your days are so much easier because you don't have to think about what you're going to make. You don't have to think about when you're going to make the stuff. Like, we think it out all for you. And then I have something called sets, which is the best thing about my challenges that people don't understand at first, but when they get doing it, they're like, oh my God, this was the best part of it, which is where we do like totally reduce the overwhelm for you. Because most challenges you have to make 3 new meals a day for like 21 days. And like, I've never finished a challenge like that. It's too much work. You get too much leftover food or whatever. So I do something called sets, where we repeat recipes 3 days in a row. And at first you're like, oh, that sounds boring. And then you're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Because you don't have to think about what you're doing. You reduce so much prep work and cooking and stuff like that. And then there's even, like I counted in this challenge, there's always going to be some throwing together your salads or whatever, but there's zero cooking on 10 of the days of the 21. Like no cooking or no prep, or minus minus like getting your stuff together for the morning, like putting your stuff in the bowl for a salad or whatever. There's like 10 days where you don't have to do anything. You just like make your meals that are kind of already in the fridge ready to go. So those are my challenges, but that's not it. Like there's that, but then there's also all these bonus documents too. So I have like kitchen product storage guide. I have a a produce storage guide, a kitchen products guide of all the things that I love the most from my nutritarian kitchen. There's a little mini lesson on mindset because that's my wheelhouse when I do private coaching. So you can start to learn about mindset as well. So that's kind of like, so I've created these 21-day challenges so that you don't feel hungry, you feel satiated, and you get all the nutrients and the bulk and everything that you need. And everything's thought out for you. People are always saying like, oh, it's so great that they don't have to think about anything for 21 days. And that's actually their biggest concern is how do you how do you get off a 21-day challenge when someone's been thinking for you for the last 21 days, which then we have the academy for that afterwards, which is the Eat to Live Academy that I've created, which is an 8-week course. So keep your eye out for that too. But yeah, that's what these challenges do. There's tons of bonuses. And with this one, we actually have a couple of new things. I have the ability for you to also pick up a restaurant guide with actually, like, I show you what you would do if you went to a place like Chili's. Like, what could you possibly order at a place like Chili's? Or what do you do when you go to a restaurant? That kind of a thing. And also outside triggers. So like, what if your husband doesn't eat this way, or your kids don't eat this way, or whatever? Then you also, this time we've never offered this before, but we have the ability to put you into this private, awesome, elite Facebook group, which we've never done before. We got a bunch of people in there already. An elite Facebook group for you to get to your goals faster. And so we've got one-to-one coaching in there, me and Nancy, who is our amazing recipe creator for the challenges now. I just interviewed her the other day. Her interview just went up, and she's also helping me coach too. And we might have another coach coming in at some point too, but we're in there coaching you one-to-one, helping you understand how to do this. If you have any questions, you can ask about the recipes, get substitutions, things like that too. It's going to be so, so good. So that's the challenges. It's all super affordable too and crazy. So that's what we're looking for. If you guys are interested, there's a link in the description of this video. I also posted a link in the comment section too. Okay. So let me get through some of these questions now. So Deanna, I hope that answers your question. Maybe you weren't looking for that much information, but that's that's what they are. So April says, what is the nutritarian lifestyle? Why is the nutritarian lifestyle so right except when you're pregnant? If you were super compliant, would it harm your developing children? Can you explain, please? The nutritarian lifestyle is right when you're pregnant. That is how you should eat. And if you can eat that way, it is the best thing you can do for your developing child. It's wonderful. It's got all the stuff in it, blah, blah, blah. For me personally, with both my pregnancies, I've had such pregnancy symptoms as food aversions. Not so much cravings or anything like that, but just like aversions where you can't get me within 10 feet of the word smoothie, or the word salad. Like it's just an impossibility for me for a while. It's all a personal journey. No disrespect or anything, or no judgment whatsoever to moms who can't stick with it during pregnancy, because I am not very good at it either. I'm doing okay. I still have smoothies. I have a lot more like bread and carbs and things like that so that I can get more nutrition. Not nutrition, but more food at once. For me, what I noticed was hunger also came with nausea every time. So, but also because I'm pregnant with twins, but I had this with my first daughter too. Every hour or two, I get starved, but it's not just like regular starved. It's like nausea too, where it's like some extra signal or something that's like, you got to eat now, but you feel so sick and you have food aversions. So I called it in my first pregnancy video ever back in the day when I was pregnant with Isabella, I called it the the Bermuda Triangle of pregnancy, where you're nauseous, you're starved, and you what was the other one? And you have food aversions. So you have all these things going on at once, and it's very real symptoms that, what are you going to do about it? It's just the way it is. So for months, you kind of are in this emergency mode of just eating what you can to get rid of that nausea, to get rid of those feelings, because it becomes, for me, it becomes, I'm just speaking for myself, but like it becomes this sort of torture chamber of like every 2 hours, you're going to have that same symptom. So for me, I wish I could do 100% nutritarian right now, but I also know that when I had my daughter Isabella, it was the same situation. I ate as much as I could nutritarian during the pregnancy. I didn't do that well, but I did as much as I could. And she's fine, and everything was fine with the pregnancy and all that kind of stuff. I know this is a really controversial thing to talk about too, because if you're not in my body, you don't know what that feels like, right? So pregnancy is different for every woman, and it is the most intense experience you can have as a woman, I think, with a very just female thing that only that particular woman on that particular pregnancy can understand how it feels. And so you just do what you can. You take your vitamins, you do everything you can to get what you have. But like, for instance, this is really funny because, they're always talking about how you need folic acid on a pregnancy. And you need folic acid because the regular standard American diet is so deficient in folate that's why they make you take folic acid to guard against neural tube defects. But like I get my folate tested before and during both of my pregnancies, and like I just had it tested 2 weeks ago again, and it's still off the charts. Like I have so much folate just built up in my body from having been close to 100% nutritarian before the pregnancy and for so long before that the body has so many stores of wonderful micronutrients and stuff. So you hope when you're pregnant that it can kind of take you through and get you as much nutrition to those babies as you can, because it's not even necessarily what you're eating every day. It's what's already in your body. Dr. Furman talks about it being so important, the pre-pregnancy diet of the mother as well as the pregnancy diet. And so you just do what you can and you move forward and you try to be as nutritarian as possible because it is optimal, but you're dealing with all these other symptoms too. Dr. Furman would completely say, no, that's wrong. You have to eat nutritarian. That's it. Like you got to just figure it out. He literally says, pretend like you're on a desert island and there's nothing else but nutritarian food. And I'm like, okay, I'll pretend, but it's still not going to happen. So, okay, that's the long answer. Sorry about that. Avriel says, you love my work. You just want to understand. Yeah. So I hope that helps. That's my explanation of it. And Susan says, you watched Mara a while ago. Yeah, she's so awesome. She's the one who did the challenges and doesn't need the challenges anymore. So good. Her experience and what you'll see in this video I just posted like an hour ago is exactly what I have intended for my challenges all along, to do what I did with them when I did challenges myself. Like, you may not get it right on the first try or the second try or the third try, the fourth try, the fifth try. And in my case, like it might take you a couple years to like get to that weight and really understand what you need to do. That's why I'm trying to make it so that you guys go a lot faster than I did. That's why I do the challenges, so you can see exactly what a protocol is that would give you enough nutrients, that would keep you feeling full, that would all those things plus help you lose weight. And then I have the academy after that. So when you're done with that, you go into the Eat to Live Academy and learn the mindset techniques in an 8-week course that explains all of this stuff. So you know exactly how to keep going for life and stay consistent and understand what your actual cause is behind your inconsistency. So you start off with the challenges, get good at eating the food, go into the academy immediately, learn all the mindset stuff, put it together, because that's what my whole program is. It's the food and it's the mindset. It's Eat to Live and it's life coaching all at once. And put those things together and you will get to your goals so much faster. No other diet programs are like this, honestly. Okay, so Teresa says, question about too much healthy fat to lose weight. If I have 1 ounce of pecans in my overnight oats and then a 1/4 cup of cashew-based salad dressing, then eat a 1/4 slice of avocado with my dinner. Good question, Teresa. You said, so is that too much healthy fat in a day to lose weight? If not, can I repeat it the next day? Would eat that way all week? because of a weight loss problem. So this is such a great question because it totally depends on the person. I don't eat a lot of grains because for the longest time I was really triggered by them. Like I would see them and I would just want to keep eating them. So I started to eat a lot more nuts and seeds instead to make up for that caloric loss by not eating grains, right? So when I'm in weight loss mode and I'm trying to lose weight, there is a specific set, like there's an amount of nutritarian foods that I can eat that will ensure that I lose weight and also be enough bulk so that I'm not hungry. Okay, that's the first thing you have to understand. And that is what I call a protocol. A protocol is when you're eating enough food to feel satiated and yet you're still losing weight and you're getting enough nutrients, you're getting your G bombs, you're getting all that stuff. That's a protocol. Protocol is different for everybody. Okay, everyone's protocol is different. Now, with the 21-day challenges, I give you my protocol that works for me to lose weight and reduces the amount of triggering grains. Because for me, they just were always like, if I had too much oatmeal or I had too much, if I had like pitas in the house or I had bread in the house or I had wraps in the house, I would just eat them all, right? So we on purpose keep that stuff as much out of the challenge as possible. We do a lot of just like overnight oats and stuff like that, which is different than having a bunch of pre-cooked oatmeal in the house that you can just like eat, you know? So we've really tried to cater to that place where you might be in the beginning where you overeat on that stuff. Now, to your question about having too much healthy fats, there isn't too much, right? Because it's not like these diets that tell you like, oh, you'll never lose weight on too much fat or something. This isn't a ratio. This isn't like a macro thing where it matters how much protein, fat, and carbohydrates you have. You just kind of like need some of all and you do what works for you. So if you find the ratio of nuts to beans to greens to vegetables to fruits, and then maybe some grains, if you find the ratios of all those that work for you to feel satiated, to not be hungry all day and to lose weight at the same time and get your G bombs and all that, you just stick with that. So for instance, my protocol is and has kind of always been very little grains, because now at this point, now that I got the mindset stuff worked out, I don't even care about grains. So I don't like have a bunch of grains in my pantry and I never even cook them because just don't even care about them anymore. I'm like, ugh. I just have more nuts and seeds. So I put more nuts and seeds and as you said, Teresa, I put nuts and seeds in my smoothie. I would put, if I was having oatmeal, I put that in. I would have a creamy dressing made out of nuts and seeds in my salad. I would probably even put some extra nuts and seeds on the salad, etc. But I would be cutting out on purpose because I have so many nuts and seeds during the day. I'd be cutting out avocado. I'd be cutting out dates. I'd just be cutting out other highly calorically dense foods so I can have the nuts and seeds instead. So I hope you see that it's all just a ratio. And like, I don't know what's going to work for you exactly. That's how you have to figure out your protocol and find out. What we do on the challenges is we make it so that we're giving you kind of a basic protocol and you see if it works for you. So when you go through the 21-day challenge, see if it works for you. If you're losing weight, which most people do, if you just follow it, most people will. If that works for you, then that can be a protocol you use and you'll start to get used to the ratios of what we put in a day of those foods. Or you either have to reduce some of those, like say for instance, get rid of the avocado and then have more, maybe a little bit of grains, or maybe have more green vegetables or something like that to replace that bulk that you're missing with less calories, if that makes sense. So it all becomes just this experiment. And Teresa, you were in the workshop last year. This is what we talked about when we talked about protocol. It becomes an experiment in figuring out what those ratios are for you specifically. Okay. And once you've got that code cracked, then you can just sort of rinse and repeat every day. So don't worry about the macros. Don't worry about how much fat you're having. Just worry about like those, like, is that whole thing figured out? The satiety, the hunger, the G bombs, getting all the nutrients. But I had to make this point because this is the thing that people always just kind of like brush under the rug. You have to be eating a massive amount of greens during the day. Massive, like you have to. So you can't eat nuts and seeds and avocado and grains to the exclusion of greens and non-starchy green vegetables and non-starchy vegetables, or you'll never lose weight, right? It's like saying, I'm just gonna have peanut butter and jelly all day instead of a salad. Okay, you'll be sustained, right? Like it won't um you won't be hungry maybe, but it's not going to be like low calorie enough in order to like lose the weight and have the bulk and get all the nutrients your body needs in order to keep going, right? And be super healthy and longevity and all that. So the biggest point here is that so many people say, how much of this can I have? Like nuts and seeds and grains and things like that, but they're not actually eating enough greens. And the most important point is having tons and tons of greens. So when I talk about how much you should be having from a vegetable standpoint, vegetables are the base of your pyramid when you're a nutritarian, right? Like in the silly USDA food pyramid, it's all grains, like 11 servings of grains per day or something, which is insane. In the nutritarian period, it's greens and green vegetables and non-starchy vegetables. It needs to be the base, cups and cups and cups and cups every day. Like, my gosh, you guys, at least 7, 9, 10 cups of vegetables every single day. When you've got that figured out, then you can start to add in the other things and find out what you can have in addition. But understanding that if you're eating 7 to 10 cups of vegetables per day, you're not going to have too much room for much else, which is the whole point. Okay. There's somebody in here that said that she loves me more than anyone on this chat. And I just want to say I love you back that much, Mom. It's good to see you, Mommy. So Deanna says rolling prep sounds awesome. Yeah, I mean that is the way to do it. Like I'm not the kind of person who's going to take my whole Sunday and prep a bunch of stuff. Like I'm not going to do that. I want to have a life that's beyond the kitchen. So rolling prep is what you do to get there. Now I just have to say as a caveat, we have to do Sunday prep on the first Sunday before the challenge starts to kind of get a few things in the fridge going as if we had been rolling prep for a week before or whatever. But so you guys will be cooking a little bit on Sunday. So make sure if you guys are interested in the 21-day Eat to Live challenge with all this stuff included that I'm talking about, there's a link in the description. There's a link in the comment section as well. Okay. So glad to see you, Susan. Thanks for showing up. El Tejano, that's so sweet of you. Thank you. Hey, Herrera, Renuka from Florida. So good to see you. Tingly mouth, raw fruit and vegetable allergy. I've been on nutritarian diet for 11 days and now my mouth is tingly and throat feels weird. Have you or anyone else heard of this? Okay, so I would start, Renuka, your Herrera also. I would start to, I think it's Renuka. Is that you? Good to see you. I would start to little by little look at what foods you're eating and as if you were looking for an allergy, right? So like eat all the same foods you're eating, get rid of something here and there, like process of elimination kind of a thing, right? You want to see. So one thing that's really, I don't know if anyone has any comments about what causes a tingly mouth and certain things, but for instance, if I eat kiwis, if I put kiwis in a smoothie, that does that to me. Spinach gives me really weird mouth feel. There's I have a blog post about this on my website from a long, long time ago, but there's a component of spinach that can create sort of a sandpaper feel in your mouth. I'm also allergic to mangoes or whatever. So it sounds like maybe you have an allergy going on and you kind of need to figure out which is the ingredient that is giving you that tingly feeling. April says maybe it's detoxing. It could be. I haven't really heard of that before in detox, but something to, if your throat feels weird, that sounds like an allergy. So I would kind of look at that. Hey, Carol, good to see you, dear. She says, did you struggle with being tired all the time? Even during a challenge, I was still foggy and then I'd feel it's not working. I wake up naturally every day, but want to feel energized. So, I mean, that's the thing, Carol. I don't actually know how long, you've been doing this or what kind of experience you have with it, right? I think you've been doing this for a long time, but I don't personally have much tiredness and I never really had much tiredness before either. So that's just not really a symptom that I have much. Certainly when we're detoxing, when we're starting out, when we're losing a lot of weight, tiredness is a huge symptom. It's totally normal. And then also like look at a lot of other things, right? Like sleep and things like that too. But typically, so I wonder, you say even during a challenge, I was still foggy and then I'd feel it's not working. I wonder, how often do you kind of go off plan? You know what I mean? Oh, my mom says have thyroid checked too. That's a really great, because I was going to say also there, of course, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving medical advice. I have no medical training whatsoever, but definitely something like that just to check if that's something that happens a lot. I know um, my mom has had issues with thyroid and stuff like that too. And it's definitely something to take a look at, because if you're having eat to live foods all the time, you should generally be having kind of the opposite effect, right? After a while, it depends on how much detox you're going through. It depends on, how much weight you're losing and things like that, because that can certainly make you super tired. But that's something I would talk to your doctor about and see if there's something else going on there as well. Because I do feel like when you're on the challenges, you should have a little bit of extra energy, maybe, or at least be working towards that. And something chronic like that seems more like maybe there's another thing at work here. Teresa says, what are your thoughts on coconut cream in a can, coconut meat from a fresh coconut? Is it healthy? So let's talk about it. Is it healthy, right? Like, is it good for you? Is it useful? Coconut in general is kind of like one of those extra foods. So it's a whole food, whole plant-based food. So it's fine. It's great. There's nothing wrong with eating it. It's just that it's not a super high nutrient food. So it's not really on the nutritarian diet very much, because it's got a ton of calories in it and not a ton of nutrients. Certainly it has good stuff in it and it can be worth eating and it's useful in certain recipes and things like that, but it's not something we really want to be eating all the time. It's kind of like how could I compare it? It's like having lentil pasta, like pasta made of lentils. Like, it's kind of this idea that's like, it's okay to have. It's not healthy, but it's also not super high nutrients. So that's why we kind of like just take a look at that. So Teresa says, I came across a coffee creamer recipe that calls for 1 can of coconut cream. Just wondering if it's healthy. I know to avoid coconut oil in my food. I mean, yeah, you can, right? But having coconut cream as a creamer in your coffee is going to do the same thing that having too many nuts and seeds is going to do, right? Like having too much of something that you don't really need that much of. It's like, let me clarify that. I mean, like if you have more nuts and seeds than you need and you can't lose weight because of it, or you're eating nuts and seeds to the exclusion of greens and stuff like that, they're not going to have many results, right? I just think of having these like coffee creamers, coffee sweeteners, things that are just completely extraneous. When it's something like that, like having coconut cream is not unhealthy, but if it's going to make it so that you don't lose weight and you're having that to the exclusion of a nice fibrous meal or something like that, then yeah, you could be having more nutrients and you could be having better fiber and things like this out of a meal instead of coffee with a creamer, right? So we say, unfortunately, for most people, we want to get away from anything but black coffee. And then once we get to black coffee, we only want one cup a day if possible, kind of a thing. So that's where we're trying to go, right? Anything else is kind of like just having extra stuff that we don't need, which can inhibit the weight loss or the progress or the ability to eat other greens or things like that, if that makes sense. Martha from Windsor, Colorado, good to see you. What a cool name, Elasmin. That's beautiful. She's asking, let's see, Carol, whether she's about the tired question. She says, is she taking supplements along with eating the foods? I felt tired and similar effects before it upped my B12 since I'm not getting it from animal products during this time. Such a great comment. Oh, that's such a good comment. Yes, so that's something your doctor can definitely help you with to find out if it happens to do with B12 too, because of course we know B12 is totally necessary and we want to make sure we're supplementing and stuff like that. I don't know if you're already taking vitamins or whatever, but there's also bioavailability, whether or not your body's even absorbing those things when you take these vitamins too. So that's why, guys, so important. Just get your blood tested, right? Go see your primary care physician, get your blood tested every 6 to 12 months just to see where you're at. We talk about this in the academy too. We get, just like a full metabolic panel, get your lipid, your cholesterol tested, get B12, vitamin D, zinc, what are the other things? Iron, ferritin. And then there's a couple other ones that you can look into too. There's a bunch, this stuff is listed on Dr. Furman's, the section of his website where he talks about the supplements, and because he sells that stuff too, right? Just get yourself tested for these things. And it's really funny when you go to your doctor and you go to get blood tests, he's like, why? And you're like, because I want to make sure I'm healthy. And they don't get it because they don't get anyone like asking for that, right? It's kind of a weird thing for them to have a patient ask for, because like nobody ever asks for that. But I always say to them, like, because I'm vegan and I want to make sure I'm getting everything. Then they get it. They're like, oh yeah, you really need to be careful, But like most of their patients are probably deficient in vitamin D anyhow, even if they are meat eaters. So, it's something that everyone should be doing anyhow on a regular basis. So you do it every 6 to 12 months in the beginning. Then you start supplementing accordingly, making sure you're not supplementing too much or too little. And then just do it like every year and just, keep an eye on it. Misty, hello. How do you make meal prepping easier? I don't feel like cooking every day. Well, this is a wormhole of a question, but yeah, how do you make meal prepping easier? So number one, I'll try to make this short, but I can get on my soapbox about this one. Number one, there's two things. Number one, rolling prep. So Misty, go back and watch this video. We talked about rolling prep a lot earlier in the video. We're talking about the technique that I have of you rolling prep. So you do 5, 10, 15 minutes of prep every single day, which is like maybe chopping some vegetables. Maybe the next day, then you're roasting some vegetables. And then the next day you're washing your greens and chopping them up. And then the next day you're making some beans, right? So by the time 4 or 5 days is up, you've got all your salad ingredients in your fridge ready to go. And if you just roll prep, right? Like then let's say you run out of roasted vegetables one day, just make some more roasted vegetables, right? You run out of beans, open up a can or make another pot of beans or whatever. Put stuff in the freezer or whatever. So then your salads take 5 minutes to make. They take no more than it would take, or they take less time than it would take to call Jimmy John's to deliver a sandwich, right? Like just takes a few minutes. Okay. So that's my first tip, rolling prep. And then like on some days, like maybe one day a week, you make an actual recipe, like a soup, which can still take only 15 minutes if you have an Instant Pot or something like that. Or then you make a lasagna or something like that, which is a little more involved, but that way you're not like doing a bunch of crazy prep, right? And then like, let's say your smoothie takes 10, 15 minutes to make, or your oatmeal takes 5 minutes because you're doing overnight oats and you can just put 5 of those in the fridge. And then for 5 mornings, you just grab your oatmeal and you're done, right? And then your dinner, you've made the soup or you've, whatever. Okay. So that's rolling prep is the first best thing to do. This is the part you're not going to want to hear me say. Prep is mental. Prep is all mental, by the way. So it's just choosing to eat to live. Excuse me. Choosing to eat to live is 100% mental. Choosing to do rolling prep, for instance, 100% mental. You just don't want to do it. 100% mental. Like to me, my soapbox about prepping is always that it's just that we don't really want to. We just want to like make something that's super familiar for us, like a big pot of pasta or whatever. Or we just want to go out to eat so we don't even have to think about it, right? That's the problem with prepping. That's why people don't want to prep, is because they just don't feel like it. They don't want to try a new thing or do a new thing. When it comes down to it, prepping can be super easy and can take like not very much time at all. But it really comes down to just in the moment when we've got to go make something, like even let's say we did the rolling prep and we have stuff in the fridge. It's that moment where we're sitting in front of the fridge and then we go, I don't want any of this. Then we walk away from the fridge, right? Like the salad could take 5 or 10 minutes to make and we just choose not to do it because we're like, ugh, I don't even feel like it. I'm just going to go somewhere where the food's already made, So that's the other part of it. And I always like to give this example of, let's say Ed McMahon, like let's say you're really tired at night and you just don't feel like pulling that soup out of the freezer to thaw or whatever, or even making a soup or whatever. Ed McMahon shows up at your door with the $5,000 check and says, if you make a healthy dinner right now, I'll give you this $5,000 check at the end of the meal, or $20,000, whatever it takes to get you to get up and make a meal, right? He says, I'll give you this check at the end of the meal if you get up and make a healthy meal right now. What would you choose? Of course, you would choose to just get up and make the meal, right? Like that thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to get $10,000 if I do this. That thought is what gets you to make the meal. It's always our thoughts that get us to do something or not, right? So then let's say he stays with you for dinner because you're like, I want you to come to dinner with me or whatever, right? Because like he's going to give you $10,000. So you want to like make food for him too. At the end of the meal, he goes, just kidding. That check is fake. There was never any money that I was going to give you. And you're like, what a jerk, right? But the point of that story is there was nothing that changed there besides your thought about making dinner. Like there wasn't any money there. Ed McMahon might have been at your house or not, but like there wasn't actually any money on the line. He was never going to give you money in the first place. It was just that you thought he was going to. So you got up and you made food, right? That's the only difference between prepping and like doing the prep or not, is all up here, which is the craziest part when you start to realize that our thoughts really do create all of our results in life. That's when we can start to gain agency over what we're doing. And so my program is always eat to live foods. That's the 21-day challenges. And then the mindset. How do you get your mind wrapped around doing it? And that's the academy, the Eat to Live Academy that I have now. So those are the two programs I offer. One is these Eat to Live challenges, which another one is starting on Monday. And then there's the academy, which is available after the challenge is over for registration as well, which is going to get you in that 100% for the rest of your life kind of a thing, instead of just, one-off challenges or whatever. So if you guys are interested in the challenge, 21-day challenge coming up, Eat to Live, all new recipes, grocery lists, meal plans, prep instructions. This rolling prep is what we do for you. And then there's tons of other bonuses too, as well as this elite private Facebook group that's available in this one too, okay? Let's see, Charity's from Florida. Hello. Hold on, we got someone else from Florida too. That's crazy. Wait, are you guys in the same city? You are. Herrera Fam and Charity are in the same exact city. Bokeelia, Florida. That's crazy. Do you guys know each other? Okay. Let me answer Charity's question. Is it normal to not have bowel movements as often with this diet? And you love watching me. Thanks for all you do. Yes, thank you so much. Then you say, also, I use a lot of bean pastas. Oh, your sisters. That makes sense. Hey, sisters. Also, I use a lot of bean pastas for recipes. Is that okay? In other words, is that just as good as having cooked beans? No, it's not. 100% not. That's a processed food like anything else. Unfortunately, sorry. Bean pastas are an occasional food you can have sometimes, and they do not count as beans. They're quite a processed food, and I would just use them, I don't know, once a week, something like that. But using them as bulk is what leads to having less and less greens and things like that. You're going to get so much more nutrition out of having just actual beans. I know that's like not as fun to hear, but that's the answer about bean pastas. And that bean pasta might be having something to do with the bowel movements too, because this is a processed food, and those, don't have as much fiber in they're processed, so they don't digest the same way a bean would or whatever. But yes, it is normal to not have bowel movements as often too. Some people have the exact opposite response. My digestion is pretty clockwork on this lifestyle, so I don't have that issue, but some people have complete opposite. So it's making sure you're drinking, enough water. We don't drink tons of water because we don't need it as much if you have enough greens and green vegetables. But that's the other thing, is making sure you're actually eating enough greens and green vegetables like we do on the challenges. So try one of the challenges, see what that protocol is like, see how many greens and green vegetables you actually need to be able to get enough fiber. Also, make sure you're chewing your food really, really well. You want to chew extra then if you're having that issue. And beyond that, I would probably talk to your doctor if you are trying all those things already and it's not really working. And hello from Poland. Awesome. Misty says she'll try rolling prep. That's so good. Yay. That's it. That's all the questions. We did it. We did our Q&A. Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you have any final questions, let me know, but I'm going to wrap up here. Because I have an appointment to go see my twins. These little babies. We're going to go see the ultrasound today. Lori. Oh my gosh, I have to say something. Lori just showed up. You look wonderful. I'm so excited for you and the babies. Thank you, sweetheart. And love the Saturday shirt on a Friday. Yeah, I'm going to probably wear this shirt every day, so get used to it. But I just want to call out Lori for a second because I think I was saying it either in this video or in the Facebook group. But I kind of always say this when I'm talking about Facebook or in 21 day challenges. But there was somebody that commented a long time ago, back in August of 2018, that I should do challenges for the audience. And it was Lori. She's the one that started all this amazingness with the 21 day challenges. She suggested it. I was so scared to do it when she suggested it in August of 2018 that I didn't actually make a 21 day challenge for you guys until January because I was terrified that everyone was going to hate them and nobody would buy them and it would be terrible and whatever. But now look where we are. We do 21 day challenges at least every 2-3 months, and they are so successful. We have hundreds of people joining every single time. They've changed the lives of so many, and I'm just so excited that that Lori's here for me to be able to call her out about that, but that we started doing that, and it's making so much difference. So thanks, Lori, and so happy to see you, love. And I'm so proud of you too. I just love you back. She's so wonderful. We've known each other for a long time now on this channel, and doing a lot of this Eat to Live stuff together, and we're kind of all in this journey, right? Like, and that's the thing too, is like my journey. It took a lot of ups and downs. I know your guys' journeys take a lot of ups and downs as well. And we just roll with it. We just keep going. We just figure out what works for us. And I promise you that I'm going to keep making materials for you that are going to support this and help you figure this out on your own and get there so much faster than I ever did. Okay, so try the 21 day challenges. Even if you're not super successful on the first one, try the next one. Try the next one. Just keep going. Just try again. Get into the 8-week Eat to Live Academy that I've created for you. Work on the mindset part of it too, or hire me as a private coach, right? So many options for you here that I'm going to get you from where I was, which was an overweight binge eater, to someone who, is pregnant with twins. That doesn't really count, but who has no problems with binging anymore and just eats healthy and is done. Right? Let me help you get there faster. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, Charities, I think you're crying because you wish you could have some bean pasta. I think that's what that means. But yeah, it's a processed food. So, okay, guys, that's all I have for you today. I want you to sign up for the 21 day challenge. It is starting on Monday. That's 2 days from now. So what that means is you should sign up today, because then you'll have enough time to look through the materials, go grocery shopping tomorrow, and then cook a little on Sunday and just hit the ground running on Monday. Okay. 21 days of Eat to Live. That's whole foods, plant-based, high nutrient, vegan, amazing, the healthiest foods on the planet that taste amazing, that fill you up, that help you lose weight, that teach you this diet. It's recipes, grocery lists, and everything, all the meal plans and everything for 21 days, plus tons and tons of bonus materials, the ability to join an amazing private Facebook group that we've never done before, which is all for one-on-one questions and coaching and help and helping each other and communing and stuff. Once you join that Facebook group, you're in. So we do more challenges in the future and you're still in that group. So you can keep getting that support if you want. This is the first time we've ever offered a totally private Facebook group, and just amazing stuff. So check into the description of this video or the comment section. I put Teresa, no, canned beans are not a processed food. They're still whole, intact, the way that you would cook if you were at home. Of course, get non-salted canned beans and make sure you rinse them before you use them. But no, that's totally on track. Totally eat tons of beans like that. Okay. And use them for convenience too. Like always having to make your own beans can be a bummer sometimes. Unless you have an Instant Pot, and then you can just, Vincent showed up. Of course she did. Then you can just make a bunch of beans at once and freeze them. So sign up for the 21 Day Challenge. I hope to see you guys in there. We're going to be doing these once a season, and there's going to be another one next month, but then that's it for a little while. So make sure you get in on these. The thing is, when people join these 21 Day Challenges, they always want to buy they always want to buy previous ones because they're like, oh, this was really helpful. Tons of great recipes, stuff like that. So consider getting in on this one because you're going to love it. It's going to be awesome, and it's going to teach you so much. Okay. Thank you for spending time with me on your Friday. I so love you guys, and I hope you guys have an awesome Friday night and weekend, and I hope to see you in the challenge on Monday. Okay. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you soon. Vincent says goodbye, and the twins say goodbye, and I say goodbye. Bye. How do I turn this off?